Jump right into this, shall we? Over the last couple of years, we've all gotten pretty used to AI chatbots, right? You type in a prompt, you get an answer back, boom. It's been a total game changer for how we gather information or brainstorm content. But today we're looking at a completely different kind of evolution. Think about it. What if instead of just answering your questions, the AI actually did the heavy lifting for you? Welcome to today's Explainer. We're going to take a deep dive into Microsoft's recent announcement of Copilot for Cowork, and we'll use some great visual examples to really break down exactly how we are moving from basically just chatting with AI to actually collaborating with it like a fully autonomous digital coworker. So here's our roadmap for the Explainer today. We're going to hit 6 key areas. Number 1, moving from chat to action. Number 2, the Work IQ Foundation. 3, delegation on the go. 4, reusable Cowork Skills. 5, connecting with plugins. And finally, number 6, the Frontier Program. Let's get right into it.
Starting off with Section 1, from chat to action, moving beyond the prompt.
Now, if you've been feeling what people call prompt fatigue lately, that incredibly frustrating feeling where you're basically holding the AI's hand step by step just to get something usable, well, this right here is the exact paradigm shift Microsoft is trying to drive. In the past, you were essentially doing all the heavy lifting. You might use AI to gather some ingredients or brainstorm a few quick ideas, but you had to bake the cake, so to speak. But the future of this tech, it's about true execution. It is a fundamental shift in mindset. It's literally the difference between asking an assistant, hey, how do I format a quarterly report, versus telling them, hey, please compile the Q3 data, format the quarterly report, and send it to the management team before 3 p.m. Copilot Cowork is built entirely for that second scenario, actually taking independent actions instead of just spitting out text.
And honestly, this isn't just some far-off theoretical concept. Copilot Coworker is actually out there right now handling some remarkably complex executions for early adopters. Think about what an orchestrated inbox workflow really entails. It's not just auto-replying to one single email, it's reading an entire thread, fully grasping the context, checking your calendar, and then drafting a comprehensive response that actually moves a project forward. Or think about deep research. Instead of you spending, 3 hours frantically clicking through a million open tabs, this digital coworker navigates multiple sources, synthesizes all that data, and generates a highly structured document. It can even build out full web pages. These are multi-step processes that require real logic, real reasoning, and deep context. It absolutely shows how we're shifting from simple text generation to real, tangible productivity that literally saves hours of human effort.
Moving right along to Section 2, the Work IQ Foundation, basically the brain of the whole operation. So you might be wondering, how does an AI actually execute all these complex tasks without just totally going off the rails? Well, the foundation making all of this possible is what Microsoft calls Work IQ. Think of Work IQ as this highly specialized internal intelligence layer. A standard generic AI out there, it basically just knows what it's scraped from the public internet. But Work IQ deeply understands your specific organization. It actually knows your company's proprietary data. It directly integrates with your specific tools, and it comprehends your internal business processes. This is absolutely crucial for enterprise security and data privacy, right? Because you aren't just tossing sensitive company info into a public model. It's that internal grounding that allows Cowork to plan, act, and actually produce outcomes that are accurate and perfectly aligned with how your specific business operates every single day.
All right, Section 3, delegation on the go, or as I like to call it, AI in your pocket. Because let's be real, work doesn't just happen sitting at a desk anymore, right? And this is exactly where asynchronous delegation becomes incredibly valuable. Let's imagine this scenario. You're on your morning commute, maybe sitting on the train, and suddenly you remember this massive task that absolutely has to be prioritized today. Instead of letting it just fester in the back of your mind until you finally boot up your laptop at the office, you just hand it off to Cowork right then and there using the iOS or Android mobile app. And because Cowork is running continuously in the cloud, you don't even need to keep your device open. The work is progressing in the background while you finish your commute, grab your morning coffee, whatever. By the time you actually sit down at your desk, boom, you are greeted with a finished outcome. You've essentially reclaimed all that dead transit time by relying on a digital employee who is literally always sitting at their desk, even when you're miles away.
Which brings us to Section 4, reusable coworker skills, or training your digital coworker.
Now, obviously, to actually trust an AI to do your work autonomously while you're busy commuting, it absolutely needs to know exactly how you like things done. To build that trust, you use what Microsoft calls a skill, which is basically just a reusable set of instructions.
Think of it exactly like the training manual you'd hand to a brand new human employee on their first day. A massive chunk of our daily work follows these repeatable, totally predictable structures. So instead of starting from zero and typing out this massive, highly detailed prompt every single time, you just create a skill once. You capture exactly how you want a task done, you define the document structure, your brand-specific tone of voice, even the exact approval process. Then you just ask Cowork to apply that specific skill consistently every single time that recurring task pops up. Huge time saver.
And the way this ecosystem scales is actually really fascinating. Right out of the box, Microsoft 365 comes loaded with a bunch of built-in skills ready to roll. These handle your typical universal corporate tasks, things like creating standard documents, trying to coordinate meeting times across a bunch of messy calendars, or conducting basic background research. So that gives you immediate value right away. But the real game changer here, the part that genuinely transforms how a team operates, comes from custom skills. This is where your organization creates highly specific instructions to standardize a unique internal process or fully automate your department's specific recurring work. And over time, as more people build and share those custom skills become this incredible, layered institutional intelligence that scales across your entire team, effectively raising the baseline productivity for everybody.
Okay, Section 5, connecting with plugins, basically giving AI the right tools for the job.
Because, look, an employee, even a really smart digital one, is ultimately only as good as the tools they actually have access to. Real work spans across dozens of different systems, right? It's very rarely confined to just one Word document or an Excel spreadsheet. So Cowork connects natively to Microsoft's own products, leveraging things like Fabric IQ with Power BI to crunch vast amounts of data, or Dynamics 365 to pull in real context from sales, customer service, or ERP apps. But what is truly impressive here is how it reaches out into the whole third-party ecosystem. I mean, it integrates directly with massive external data sources like the London Stock Exchange Group and S&P Global Energy. It connects right into collaborative tools you're probably already using, like Miro for whiteboarding or Monday.com for project management. Organizations can even build their very own custom plugins for their proprietary in-house software. You are effectively handing your AI worker the keys to the exact line of business systems it needs to complete these really complex cross-platform workflows. Actually, Charles Lamanna, the executive vice president of Copilot at Microsoft, hits the nail on the head when summarizing the massive scope of this. He says that these products power intelligent, agent-driven workflows across productivity, collaboration, CRM, ERP, and business process automation. And I really want to emphasize that one specific phrase there, agent-driven workflows. That is the core evolution we're talking about today. This tech is no longer just some passive bolt-on tool waiting around for a prompt. It is active, connective tissue that an agentic AI uses to seamlessly navigate, orchestrate, and actually execute tasks across your entire business ecosystem.
And finally, Section 6, the Frontier Program, how to actually onboard your AI coworker.
So if you're sitting there wondering how you can actually get your hands on this and start experimenting right now, Copilot Cowork is actually available today through Microsoft's Frontier program. Now, a crucial takeaway from all this source material is that the pace of this technology is moving incredibly fast. Microsoft is continuously expanding what Cowork can do, and they're pushing out rapid improvements based directly on how early customers are actually using the system in the real world. So getting involved early means you aren't just adopting a static, boring piece of software, you are actively building out your own autonomous workflows right alongside the cutting edge of this technology's ongoing development.
All right, we've covered a lot of ground today. We've explored the massive shift from conversational chat to true autonomous execution. We've dug into that Work IQ brain, the flexibility of mobile delegation, the absolute power of reusable skills, and those essential plug-in connections. As we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a direct challenge. What will you delegate to your new digital coworker today? Take a really hard look at your daily bottlenecks. You know, those repetitive, multi-step processes that inevitably slow down your most creative, impactful work, and ask yourself how autonomous AI can permanently take them off your plate forever. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Keep learning, keep exploring how these incredible tools can reshape your workflows, and I'll catch you next time.